test. Alrighty, about to get started here. Last few tweaks of my interface so that we're not looking at all this extra cruft. How does that look for oh, it needs to be centered. Let me get that done. Ta-da! Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, so now we're really ready to get started here. There's a couple things we're going to be going over today, and we'll take some notes while we do this and make everything, basically if we do anything substantial, which this will be a little bit of intro code on how to put together a C#.NET project using the latest .NET Core stuff. Well, okay, not the latest .NET Core, the latest release version of .NET Core against an Apache Cassandra DataStax Enterprise library. We'll take notes on that and then we'll put it on a repo, put it out in a repo once we get it wrapped up. So we're going to do just real basic stuff here, but start from nothing and get to at least the starting point of building an application with C#. So let's see, right now I have Visual Studio Code installed, so I'm just going to work with that as our main IDE for this. And then I have Firefox, which isn't specifically the browser you'd always be using. You know, you might be using Chrome or whatever, but I'm just going to use Firefox to go out and get the necessary elements here, our prerequisites. So .NET Core. Alright, .NET Core is multi-platform C#. For those that aren't super familiar with it, you can run it on pretty much anything. You've always been able to run .NET on pretty much anything, but it's always been limited. With .NET Core, though, however, especially with 2.2 and the latest release, it meets a standard that works across all platforms. So whether you're on Linux, Mac OS, or Windows, doesn't matter. Or as you can see below, there's binaries for x64 Alpine, ARM64, ARM32, etc. So even beyond those three core operating systems, there's options for where you can run it and what you can build with it. It's pretty awesome, honestly. I've been using it a bit, and it's pretty quick. It is definitely not previous generation .NET. It's slightly different. The language is still there, though. Like, the vast majority, 98%, 99% of C# is there. You can use F#. You can use probably VB.NET, probably COBOL.NET, probably the other .NET runtime languages, depending on their various levels of support. But they're all there and available to get set up against .NET Core. So let's see. We're running Ubuntu 18.04 Linux on this machine. So I'm gonna go with Linux, and then let's see. I don't need to just run apps. I need to build apps, right? Because we're gonna build an app that will use data from Apache Cassandra or a DataStax Enterprise. To do that, I'm gonna need to get the SDK. If you just want to run a .NET app, you can use the .NET Core runtime. It's the same thing pretty much as what you have to do. You have to go out and get the JRE, etc., and the various SDK versus other options to either run a Java app or build a Java app. Same kind of premise. So here's our various distro versions. OpenSUSE, Core Debian, using 18.04 Ubuntu. Let's get a terminal out there. I'm pretty clicky. The buttons are loud? Is that what you mean? Yeah, my mic is right here. So here, before installing .NET, you want to get the key. So we'll go out and just basically copy this stuff. Oh, that's super interesting. I'm wondering if updates hasn't started or something. Boy, I don't want the whole thing there. Right, I just want to unlock it. Come on. What? I always love it when it says something's locked and then it doesn't. It shows you that it's not locked. Just remove the lock file. There we go. Okay. So we have the key now. Now we can just get out here, start adding the repo. All right, cool. And then we'll want to get app transport HTTPS. Nice, looks like I have a few of the dependencies already. Then I want to do an update. Yeah, it definitely looks like a restart is in my future. Alright, I now have chat visible, so everyone should see that appropriately on the screen. Y'all want me to restart, don't you? And then we get an update, and then we're going to pull in the actual SDK and install it. You see the chat, like on the screen. Because it's supposed to be there. Oh, maybe I'm using the wrong mic. Oh, let me see if I can transition. Tell me, is the click any better right now? Weird. The chat has a little bar, which is super weird at the bottom. Like somebody could scroll it, but it's not scrollable. No, not better. Oh, the sound is clipping. I thought you meant my keyboard or the mic. How about now? Is that better? Hey, Mo Hath, the villain. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Better but low. Mic audio better but low. Yeah. Just battling between the system volume, the test 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 test. Is the crackle gone? Yeah. So it should be better now. Getting better. Okay. If you're wondering, I'm staring at my mic right now to see if it's crackling or whatever it's doing. No, still clicky. Well, I'm gonna have to fiddle with it later. I just won't talk too much. All right, let's see. Where were we at? Oh, so actually installing .NET now. So we just did the update. Now install time. Why are you apologizing, Sonic DMG? Test, 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 test. Okay, now I'm getting crackle again. Woohoo, crackle. Wow, to fix it is that's some pretty crazy fix right here. If you have this error, let's hope we don't have that error. Yes, no. Working on that right now. Let's see here. Oh, phooey. That might not be appropriate. Alright, we got .NET 2.2 installed. And I am fixing the screen here in 2 ways real quick. So just bear with me. Does that make it a little bit better as far as font size? It's like I'm hitting my head on this bar. Alright. So I think this... No, that doesn't do it. What is the font? Preferences. Let's do this. Let's say terminal size columns looks better. Cool. Alright. Oh, and then let's do custom font, and let's bump this up to 18 just for good measure anyway. Yeah. There we go. That's super way more awesome visible, right? Boom. Alright. I don't know about the browser though. I guess I can just do, I can just zoom in. So we'll go up to 100 something. And I don't want to update Firefox at the moment. You're working perfectly fine. Alright, so we have this running now. And let's see. Alright. So the next thing I'm actually going to do is go out and get JetBrains Writer. Oops. Actually, I'm going to get Toolbox and then JetBrains Writer. So you can do .NET a couple different ways. So let's talk about that though. .NET create application. Actually, we'll skip Writer. We'll just do it via the CLI purely right now. So what is it? Let's hear .NET new. This is basically how you would create an application, right? .NET new template, yada yada yada. You give it a name and all that kind of stuff. And then we can do the NuGet to pull in the dependency for Cassandra. We'll look at that in a minute. Let's hear .NET new CLI. Or console app. That's what I want. Console app. I know they have a thing here. Yeah, .NET new console. .NET run. Oh wait, let's create a directory for it. First, we'll put it in our new console application. Crunchy nougat. And then let's hear our new console. Yeah. Now we do .NET new console. Boom. It looks like it does so much. I guess it kind of does though. So alright, now we have our object directory, a csproj, and a .cs file. So if we open this up in code, let's do that. And where is our other? Okay, well it gives us good enough. So let's go with a few additions. Let's put a .get ignore file in here. Then let's put a readme.md, a sample starter.net application for Apache, Cassandra, and DataStax Enterprise. description. It says application starter to, or let's say with the drivers and assorted extra collateral needed to get started quickly. Boom. All right. Here I'm gonna put in .IDA, .dsstore. Even though I'm on Linux, I always add the .dsstore directory out of habit. The .IDA is a folder in JetBrains IDE, so whenever I do use that, it won't try to commit everybody else's configuration settings, and then we'll fiddle with the rest of that a bit later. So readme, get ignore, yep, that looks good. So CS_proj, let's take a look at that real quick. Real simple. Some time ago, the .NET team, let's do this actually. Yeah, there we go. Now it's viewable. The .NET team opted to go with the XML configuration file instead of basically copying the Node.js style config file, which was JSON. So in that sense, the CS project file has been narrowed down to what is extremely minimalized compared to what it used to be, and it's now basically what you see right before you, Microsoft.NET.SDK, output type exe. That's not particularly correct for this machine because it's Linux, but I don't think that's going to be too big of a deal at the moment. We'll fiddle later. And then the target framework is NetCore App 2.2, which is what we use to create this. While I'm here, I'm going to grab that. And I love that Visual Studio Code already determined that I'm using C#, so it installed the plugin for it. And then let's see here, we'll get back in here. CS_proj, and we already have a console write line app, right? So if we do the .NET thing, say .NET run, boom, it should build and then run the app. Hello world, there we go, success. So we have a .NET app running, right? Now, we want to get into, let's see here, .NET Core, Apache, Cassandra, driver. And then let's see here, .NET Core, DataStax, Enterprise, driver. Thanks Google for knowing what I wanted. There we go, C# driver. Let's see. Yep, so this driver supports .NET Framework 4.5, which is it on 4.6 now or something like that? Whatever the case, if you're on 4.5 or better, this driver is supported on that, and also .NET Core 1+. So we're on 2.2, we got that base covered. Covers a bunch of the features, some of the getting started, and what we want to do right now is make sure we have this, and we're not going to use PowerShell, so this isn't particularly our command, but let's go and see what our command would be on Linux. So right here under .NET NuGet, you have push, locals, delete, let's see here, .NET restore, install, publish, pack, restore, solution, test. Oh, there's .NET Build. I'll have to talk about that in just a second. But let's see here. .NET Core add NuGet package. Oops. Yeah, there we go. So .NET add, paste in Cassandra C# driver. Required command was not provided. .NET add. Oh, do I need to add the project name? Add. Oh. .NET. .NET project add. Cassandra, is that the order? Oh no. Shoot. .NET add. Our project is what? Our new console application. Add, wait, project, add project, package, the type package, and then this. Project file to operate. File is not specified, the command will search the current directory for one. Oh, well, that's all I want to do. Package commands, package, add a new, oh, so I need .NET, add, package, that thing, right? Ah, it is that simple. Okay, there we go. We're getting our package added now. So that should be in there. Then jump in here and let's take a look. There we go. There's our package added to the CS proj file. Okay, so we have a Cassandra driver now. Now the question is, what's the best way to write against a particular data source, right? We don't have a data source at the moment. We just have all this stuff. Let's see here. Let's get. We'll put this in the README, so it'll be a bit useful. README. Oops. Getting started with .NET Core. Getting started with Apache, Apache Cassandra. Getting started with DataStax and Enterprise. There we go. Let's go ahead and initialize that too, and get our first commit in there. Git commit, adding, git ignore. Oh, whoops. Well, git config global user.email. If you have any questions, comments, or whatever, feel free to email me. DataStax.com. Git config global user.name. I am simply Adrian. There we go. Git status, git add the rest. Oh, we want to add the bin and object directory actually to that git ignore file. There we go. One of the other things that I often do, let's talk about the .NET Build real quick. If we do .NET Build, we then get a build, as you would expect, right? So we have no warnings, no errors, and it built in almost 3 seconds. If we look at everything now, we will see, let's see here, bin, the bin directory, and object directory in bin is the debug, and there it is. So the .NET Core app, actually is that, oh, that's derp. There it is. So right now it just builds into the DLL. Okay. So the thing is you want to make sure that you're not checking that in either. So it looks good there. So let's go ahead and add the rest of that stuff. And we'll commit first code project commit. Alright, looks all good there. We added that to our bookmark. And then let's .NET new add. I don't know where that one, the help doc was that we did that. Oh, here we go. That is the add a package that I want. So let's put that in our README. .NET core. I'm adding a package, creating a .NET application console. There we go. And then we want to get the C# driver in there. Sharp driver. And it's pretty much the same thing for, actually I'm going to do this. There we go. Cassandra and DataStax Enterprise. There we go. All right. So now, next step is to get ourselves a database. So there's two immediate ways that I can think of that are super easy to do this. So we can go out to Apache Cassandra, and you can get a single node, download it, and install it, and just run it locally, right? So this is a super easy way to do it, but it means you have one more thing running locally on the box. It's not contained. It's something that if you tweak it, it's changed or configured per the local node, and also you just have the one single node running. Cassandra, of course, is a distributed database, so often you want to have more than one node running. You want to have 3 or even preferably 5. Since we're just talking about doing this locally though, it does prove out that the application is connecting to something. So we could just have one node, and that gives us a lot of capabilities right there just to do development, work against it, put key spaces in it, insert data, delete data, that kind of thing. If you want to move past that though, you need to be able to run multiple nodes, and the way to do that is, at least the easiest way to do that, is with Docker. One could of course buy hardware and add a bunch of hardware and have multiple computers running or whatever. Depending on your environment, maybe that's the better option, because then you can mimic production or something like that. But for our case, we're just going to pull down plain old Apache Cassandra and install a node just to get started right now. So I'm going to go in here, and it's kind of the same step to install it. We're going to pull a key like so. And then, well, that sets that in the list, and then we pull the key, and then we get an update real quick to make sure we're going to pull the latest Cassandra when we install it. We shall verify that, and then install Cassandra. Now down here it gives you a little bit of get started advice, like what to do and everything. So you can make sure it's running by clicking that. There's other various things you can do too. But for right now we just want to get it installed and then make sure it's running. Was there an error? Oh, weird. You know, I think that happened yesterday, but it still let me get the thing. Oh, it's installing. So if it installs, we're good. Good catch, though. I didn't even see that. So, are we starting? Hey, that looked good. No error. So, it's that easy to install a Cassandra node locally, and then you work against it. One of the things I like to use is data grip, because it's just quick, gives you a lot of autocomplete on your CQL syntax, etc. But that's for another session. Right now we just want to see where we're at with the console, see if we can get somewhere in regards to that. So there's our hello world. Let's get a console.writeLine. connecting to Apache Cassandra. Oh, I've been writing so much C# and Go, I'm going to forget my semicolons. But we'll get it all figured out. Alright, the next step here is to get out here and let's say .NET Core C# Cassandra driver. Got here to the repo, C# driver. And let's see here. Make that a little bit bigger. We got it installed. There's some of our features. Getting started guide. Let's click on that. What's that got? So that actually leads you out to the very short course. Boom. To get started with C# and .NET. I'm not going to create an account right now because we're not actually going to go through all of this specifically here. We're just going to read it from the docs because it's kind of close to the same thing. All right, let's do this. We're going to snag this. I'm actually curious what the build looks like if I change it to this. So this is going to be localhost. And then connect to this. Execute, select from sample table. We just want to connect to a specific key space. Oh, let's one thing. Let's see here. Node tool. Oh, gotta type the whole thing. Node tool status, just to get a look at what's going on here. All right, just to verify this, you can use node tool status to get your address, which is 127.0.0.1, which is localhost. I already knew that. That's why I just went ahead and put that in. But if you want to check, it's easiest to do with node tool status. You can verify it. In the case of a lot of systems, the node or the connection address would not be localhost if you're trying to connect to a remote cluster, of course. So you'd have to go out and verify what IP or get the IP from like IT or the support group that's managing your cluster. All right, and then all right, CQLSH, if you just type that, if you're on port 9042 on localhost, it'll just connect to that by default. And we can go ahead, we're going to create a key space. Oh, look, cycling. Yeah. My favorite. Why is this? Oh, copy to clipboard. Of course, that's what I want to do. But I don't want all this stuff. All right, there we go. Knock that out. Create it. Data center 3. Oh, it says. Oh, that's gonna. Okay. Anyway, what happens if I do that? So then we're gonna use the cycling key space. Creating, updating key space. Wait, oops, go back. This is a good one to put in our README file, so let's put that in there. Node tool status. There we go. do a build just to see where we're at here. The name cluster doesn't, oh yeah. I'm so used to my IDE just adding my imports. But I need to do using, and then what is the this is something that should be added to the docs actually. So basically, what we need is we need to include this, but I'm not sure if there's a namespace before that. So we'll find out here in just a second. Try the build again. Let's see what we get. Yo, type or namespace could not be found. Cassandra C# driver can be found. It should be there. Oh, do I have to do a restore? That's a little on the frustrating side. Let's open up a terminal in here and do a .NET restore. Oops. Yes, no? Does it say it in here? It also does not have it in here. It's your documentation. Stamp I have. Let's look at these. We got, oh, that needs updated. So you're going to put addendums out here. Documentation, documentation updates needed. And then okay, so that's good. We got our key space, which we just want to connect to our key space and then work to verify that. So reline console. Turn this. He's doing. Is that different? So you can do cluster.builder.add contact point builder, which is basically what we have. I'll go ahead and let's actually change this to the IP. A little more specific there. And then cluster connect demo. But we still need to figure out that namespace. So let's get out here and we'll do that. So if we go out to our killer video Cassandra sample, we should be able to just look in one of these files and see where it's referenced. Okay, so that's that namespace. First statement cache. No, let's see if we got it on our local machine. We do. Well, that's the all-in-one, so that's going to be a little different. Let's actually pull down this. Git clone. C# list, and then we're going to open that in code too. And then do a find for C#lib. Alright, so there's the 3.04 driver there, bound to .NET 4. Interesting. Whereas we pulled ours, we're 3.8. Okay, so we got a newer version. That's what I wanted to do. Yeah, 3.04. Da, da, da. Yeah, that's all in the packages config, which I believe is the older file now. So, well, I'm just gonna look through the files until I find one. So Cassandra, uploads, user management, search. Oh, these are individual. Maybe it's just that. Let's go with that one. And then, oops, that's not us. This is us. Come on, terminal. Where are you? Oh, there we go. Clear. .NET Build. Typer namespace into file expected. CS proj. Typer namespace affected. Come on, render right. I want to see the whole thing. Build failed. So okay. Type or namespace definition. Maybe one less semicolon. Come on, Visual. There we go. Wait, did that? It looks like it worked. Oh, phooey. Go back to the regular terminal. .NET Build. What? Oh, yeah. Back in here, .NET Build. Hey, that worked. Okay, just had too much of a semicolon. So the namespace is just Cassandra. Even though the NuGet package is named something completely different. So it's important to differentiate there. So let's see here, .NET run. Just look at our app real quick. Make sure it still prints something out. Does not exist. That is correct. The keyspace demo does not exist. So what do we call it? Cycling, I think, is the one that we created. Boom. All right, so that worked. So now my question is, so we've proven that we've gone out and connected to the cycling cluster, but we also only know that based on the fact that we had an error that the keyspace didn't exist, but now we connect to the keyspace that does exist, but we don't get a message. So the question is what does session have in it for us that will tell us that we've connected to a keyspace? So let's take a look and just see what we can get here, because there's got to be something, right? So documentation index, getting started guide. Was there anything here. Let's hear it. So we can get a session. We connect to the key space. Session prepare. So this is an additional CQL statement, but I don't want to issue a CQL statement. I just want to verify that I have made an active connection and that it did work. So I think the best way, so let's hear. There is some of the commands, fairly straightforward SQL code that looks like SQL code. CQL code that looks like SQL code. It's so easy to say both of those exactly the same. So here, I want to look at the session object because maybe that'll hold a key for us to get into real quick. Let's see here. And it's really the iSession. Is that on there? No. Okay. Where is... Yeah, here we go. Cluster, yes, cluster. Key space gets the name of the iSession interface. Let's look at this. Begin, prepare, delete key if exists, delete key space, create key space. We could create a key space. Create batch. So one thing gets a snapshot containing information on the connection pools held by the client at the time. Gets state. Let's look into this. So get state. This instance. So it returns an instance. Okay. Then is supposed to do. All right, let's go with that. Let's do get state. Oh, I have an error. Whatever. Close killer video since we figured that out. Session dot get state var result equals and then that result, let's see here, we said get state, which returns an iSession, this iSession instance, iSession state type. Interface, get connected hosts, get in-flight queries, get open connections. Return type N32. Let's see, get state, static, just returns this session. Well, let's see if we can do this then. Do a console dot write. I'm not sure write line. Let's just see if we can write it out. Build failed. Our new application expected. Oh, I missed a semicolon already. Oh, those semicolons. All right, Dotnet Build. Which doc? The DataStax drivers, C#, DSE, 2.1, HTML, DSE extensions, get state. Just should go to. Okay, let's bookmark that too. That's a good one for the README. Is that the more updated one? Oh yeah, because I'm looking at 2.1. Thank you for those updated drivers. I also it's 3.4 available. Oh, look at there, 3.4. because I think that's what I have in this, which is, where'd my thing? Oh, 3.8. So 3.8 are available, and that's what aligns with the NuGet package. So I'm going to put that out there. Thanks for that catch. I appreciate that very much. Always good to have the latest stuff, not be right into goodness only knows what. So fortunately, get state still works and still returns that instance. So now we cross our fingers. And let's see, Dotnet Build. Ooh, success. All right, so .NET run, and let's see what that spits out. Ah, ta-da! We now have evidence that we are connected to a Apache Cassandra node, at the least. We have one open connection, and we have 0 in-flight queries. So let's talk about what we did just now. We got the Apache, the latest DataStax Enterprise Apache Cassandra driver for C#, which is 3.8, as noted. We dug into the documentation there. We also installed .NET Core. We use Visual Studio Code to do all of our short little bit of coding there. And now we're up and running. We're ready to write code against this application project to create a console app that works against Apache Cassandra or DataStax Enterprise with the DataStax Enterprise Apache Cassandra driver version 3.8. So hope that was useful. If you have any questions or comments, I will post a link for the repo as I add it. Actually, you know what? Let's be a good open source citizen here. And actually, I'll put it out there. Yeah, I'll have to post a link later because I don't want to go through two-factor auth right at the moment. And that clearly is something that I would have to do. So with that, I'm going to sign off. And if you stay tuned, Jeff Carpenter and I believe David Gilardi are going to continue onward in just a moment or two with some more good technical tidbits. So with that, I am out. See you later.